Oh, we have customer controller talks to service and service talks to DAO, which currently has one implementation, and that is this one right here called Customer Data Access Service. Now, you see that we have this main class, which basically just runs, and we have dependencies in here. So you've learned about dependency injection and why it's important, and this is exactly what we are doing. Now, we're not instantiating these, so we're not saying, so in here, we're not saying new, and then customer, and then service, and the customer service needs new data access service, and the controller needs the, so customer controller, new customer controller, and this actually needs the service, which we need to basically do like this, and yeah, and then pass customer service in here, and now we have the controller. So we're not doing this, and actually this is bad, so we should never do this. And this is because Spring actually takes care of managing these instances, and actually it does that for us, right? So Spring is a dependency injection framework, and it actually does this for us. Now, how does Spring initializes these classes for us? So Spring has a concept of beans, and I'll explain beans in a second. But basically, if we want our classes to be instantiated, and this is mainly for services, DAOs, and controllers, we have to add special annotations. So let me actually leave this in here, and I'm going to leave it as a comment so you can have for reference, just like that. And I'll leave a comment here saying never do this. So never do this. So let's learn the right way of us instantiating our classes. So for the customer class, so this class right here, so customer, this is not needed, right? Because this is a class which we basically create a bunch of objects from it. So this is out of the way. Then customer controller, have a look. This already has an annotation, and Spring already takes care of this class and instantiates it for us. So it creates a new instance of this class, and it's known as a bean. So this customer controller will be a bean that we can access throughout our entire application. Then customer, so we have this annotation right here for controller, which is special because it handles HTTP requests. Now, customer service. So this class, we don't have any annotation, but we need one. The annotation that we need is at component, or we can say at and then service. So at component or at service. So if I show you, if I select, I'm going to press command and then basically select the annotation, you can see that this basically is just an alias for component. Now, the reason why we say at service instead of component is because it's more specific. So this is a class for business logic, and the naming convention is that any class that ends with service, we annotate this with at service. Any class for business logic, we say at service. Any class for configuration, we say at configuration. Any class for DAO, so DAO, let's go to DAO. So here, data access service. So any class for DAO, we basically say at, and this is not DAO, but it's repository. Repository. And in here, because we only have one implementation, we don't have to assign a name. But if you want, you can actually name these. So you can add a value and you can say fake. So fake in here. But let's not do this because we will learn later about qualifiers. So add repository. And now if I go back to service, the error goes away. So have a look. This was actually red, and that's because I do have the Ultimate Edition, and it's actually telling me that I'm trying to inject a bean that doesn't exist. So the same with the controller. So remember, before it was red, whoops, and you can see that that disappeared. So that fixed this error in here. Let me show you again. So if I remove this annotation and then go back to customer service, and if I put my mouse in here, have a look, could not auto wire, no beans of customer service type not found. And that's because, you know, it's not out there for us to be able to inject in here so that we can assign a reference to this instant field called customer service. So what we need is the annotation, and Spring goes off and it performs its magic. And to be honest, this is it. Literally, this is it. Now, what we need to do is to make sure that the application does start. So let's just go to the main class, and in here, let's just start the application. So I'm going to right click, run main application. So Tomcat started on port 8080. And what we're going to do is we're going to test our API. So let's, this time, let's just use Postman. So in here, so if I send a request to get all customers, API v1 customers, send, hooray, you can see that the application works. So we get an array of 2 objects, Alex and Jamila. If I say /1, we get Alex, /2, we get Jamila, /3. This should throw 500 as before. And you can see that now we refactored our application to follow the NTR architecture, and we have a better architecture where classes do what they are supposed to do and not everything. Next, let me explain beans.